எனக்கு மெசேஜ் போட்டிருந்தேன்.
நான் ஃபோன் பண்றேம்மா.
ஃபோன் பண்ணு.
சரிங்க சார்.
பிரசன்ட் பண்ணலாமா?
Yes, sir. Good evening to all. I am P. Deepalakshmi. This is my fourth seminar regarding the chemical reactions happens in nephron and also some of the extra points about the tubules present in the nephron. I am a full-time research scholar doing my research under the guidance of Dr. E.P. Siva.
சவுண்ட் கொஞ்சம் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணுங்க.
Yes, sir.
சரி.
Here we are going to see the nephron. That is, we already seen that nephron is produced at the time of birth. It's about the 2 million of nephron is produced at the time of birth. But then after by aging, it will be reduced to 50% at the age of 80 because of some infections, diseases, etc. Facing our body. Almost in adult we can clearly notice that is 1 to 1.3 million nephron is present in our body. Then it is divided into cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephrons. It is separated because of the present and where it is presented, that is named it is as cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephrons. That is in the picture it is generated as um, it is in center tube is called the collecting tubule. Right side one nephron is there, left side one nephron is there. The right side nephron is called as the cortical nephron, left side nephron is called as the juxtamedullary nephrons. Here the same tubules are present in both the nephrons. The table is given here, that is how much it is occupied in our kidney, that is it is generated in percentage. Cortical nephron occupies the 85 percentage of in the kidney. Then juxtamedullary nephrons occupies 15 percentage. Then a situation of renal corpuscle, in renal corpuscle, that is the composition of glomerulus under the Bowman's capsule. In this renal corpuscle, cortical nephron is located in the outer cortex near the periphery. That is the this yellow region is called as the cortex. um, and central region is known as the medulla. Then inner region is known as the renal sinus. Here that is a cortical nephron is present in the outer cortex near the periphery. Then juxtamedullary nephron is present in the inner cortex near medulla. The variation is it is in the outer cortex. Here in it is in the inner cortex. Then next tubule loop of Henle, which is in cortical nephron it is as short. In juxtamedullary nephron it will be long. In the picture itself we can see that is this is ascending, this is descending limb, this is ascending limb. When comparing this and this, here the loop of Henle is short, here the loop of Henle is long. Here the hairpin bend penetrates only up to outer zone of medulla, that is from here only the outer zone of medulla it is penetrates. In the for juxtamedullary nephrons it will penetrates up to the tip of papilla. Here the papilla will be given here but it is not mentioned. Hairpin bend penetrates up to the tip of papilla. Then blood supply to tubules, how it is applied, that is through vertebral capillaries. Here the vasa recta, which means the capillaries rise from the efferent arterioles, that is collectively known as the vasa recta. Then function, cortical nephron function, main function is the formation of urine. Here in addition to the this function, the juxtamedullary nephron will maintain the concentration of urine and the formation of urine. Then for the extra points for Bowman's capsule, that is it will be surrounded with two layers. It is the layer called inner visceral layer and outer parietal layer. The diameter of the inner visceral layer will be lies inside the Bowman's capsule, outer parietal layer which will be in outer side of the Bowman's capsule. The total diameter of Bowman's capsule is 200 mu, that is 1 mu will be equal to 1000 millimeter. uh, Here these outer parietal layer will be surrounded by epithelial cells. These epithelial cells with pedicels called the podocytes. The name podocytes come from the epithelial cells with pedicels called the podocytes. Those type of cells called podocytes. Then renal circulation, that is how much the blood is moves through the kidney. That is in adults both kidney receive 1300 ml per minute, or it is equally about 26% of cardiac output. Then in afferent arterioles, afferent artery is divided into 4 or 5 large capillaries. This is the first capillary network of kidney. Then efferent arteriole will be called as second capillary network. From this arterioles, petricular capillaries are divided. The definition of vasa recta and macula densa are given here. The picture definition of afferent arterioles and efferent arterioles, which is enclosed above the tubules. That is, we already seen the nephron that with the tubules. Here the arterioles, that is afferent arterioles and efferent arteriole, will be surrounded, will be denoted with the red color. Is called as the afferent arteriole. Red color picture will be called as the tubules, will be called as afferent arteriole. Then after that it will be joined to form the arcuate vein. That after filtration, the filtered molecules will be gone through arcuate vein. Then it will reach the heart. That is, it will be mentioned. Then vasa recta, which means the terminal portion of the juxtamedullary nephrons, and will be arise from the efferent arterioles of efferent arteriole will be separated for cortical nephron and also for juxtamedullary nephrons. Thus vasa recta will be arise from efferent arterioles of juxtamedullary nephrons. Then macula densa, which is the terminal portion of ascending limb in juxtamedullary nephrons. uh, the limb will be separately given for cortical and juxtamedullary nephrons. That is, here the terminal portion of ascending limb of juxtamedullary nephrons, the macula densa will be arise. In picture, this opening is called as the interlobular artery. From the heart, the blood will reach here, then it will pass through the afferent arterioles. Then for filtration it goes into the glomerulus. After it is filtered into the Bowman's capsule, after it will reach step by step into the tubules. After collecting into the after tubules, from the collecting duct, the efferent arterioles will collect. Then finally it goes to the arcuate vein, um, which will be directly connected to the heart. Um, then length and diameter of each segments are given here. That is for Bowman's capsule. That is epithelium, which means the outer layer of the each segments. That is in Bowman's capsule, the epithelium will be flattened epithelium. Here the length is not given here. For diameter, which is already seen, that is 200 mu. For a proximal convoluted, after Bowman's capsule, the blood will reaches the proximal convoluted tubule. Here the outer layer will be surrounded by cuboidal cells with a brush border. The length will be 14 mm and the diameter will be 55 mu. Then after it reaches the thick descending segment, here the outer layer will be cuboidal cells with the brush border. The length will be 6 mm and the diameter will be 55 mu. Then after descending limb, it will reaches the thin descending segment, hairpin bend, and the thin ascending segment. Here the epithelium will be flattened. Let us compare to the Bowman's capsule, similar to the Bowman's capsule. Here the length will be 10 to 15 mm. The diameter will be 15 mu. Then thick ascending segment. Here the epithelium will be cuboidal in shape with the same brush border. The length will be 9 mm and the diameter will be 30 mu. Here then the distal convoluted tubule, here the epithelium the same with respect to thick ascending segment, that is cuboidal epithelium with brush border. The length will be 14.5 to 15, diameter will be 22 to 50. Then collecting duct, the same epithelium is given here for thick ascending segment, distal convoluted tubule collecting duct, the same epithelium is given, cuboidal epithelium with brush border. The length will be 20 to 22. Then diameter is 40 to 200 mu. Yeah, we for calculation for glomerular filtration rate, it is calculated in the
Lakshmi,
sir.
where is the diagram for or figure for that brush border?
சார் அது பார்க்கல சார், நான் எடுத்துட்டு நான் இது பண்ணுறேன் சார்.
Sorry, okay, ma.
ஓகே சார்.
So mainly, what is the use of the brush border? What is the work of the brush border,
சார்
sir?
ஃபார் பெனிட்ரேட் சார், வாட்டர் வந்துட்டு ஆஸ்மாசிஸ்க்கு வந்துட்டு உள்ளார மாலிகுல்ஸ் ஃபில்ட்ரேஷன் ஆகிறதுக்கும் வாட்டர் உள்ளார வந்துட்டு வெளில போகிறதுக்கும் அது யூஸ் ஆகுது சார்.
Okay, okay. So it is like taking inside that water and
எஸ் சார்.
what is the work of that paracellular?
பேராசெல்லுலார் எது சார்?
Don't know that, na?
நோ சார்.
Okay. So what is the work of the transcellular?
சார் டிரான்செல்லுலார் பேராசெல்லுலார் இல்லை சார், அது
Note
பார்க்கல.
பண்ணிக்கம்மா.
ஓகேங்க சார்.
Transcellular and paracellular. சரியா?
பேராசெல்லுலார் ஓகேங்க சார்.
சரி, okay. Sorry.
Okay, continue.
Here the formula is given for glomerular filtration rate. That is normally the glomerular filtration rate is about 125 ml per minute, or for in hour 7.5 liter per hour. For calculating for one day, it will be equal to 180 liter per day. The formula is given, that is filtration fraction is equal to glomerular filtration rate by renal plasma flow, that is how much it is entered into the kidney. For converting into percentage, it is multiplied into 100, that is here we already know that per minute it is calculated as 125 ml per minute, divided by renal plasma flow, that is for within for say in 60 seconds 65 ml will be entered into the kidney. For finding for percentage, it is multiplied into 100, it will be equal to 19.2 percentage. Generally in women, glomerular filtration rate is will be equal to 115 ml per minute. In men it will be equal to 125 ml per minute. Then in renal pelvis also, the urine will be stored from the renal pelvis, after it will goes to bladder through ureter. In the renal pelvis, the normal capacity is about 7 ml. After crossing 7 ml, it will goes down to bladder through ureter. Then urinary tract infection, already we seen in last session, that is in detail. Urinary tract infection, which means the inflammation of bladder due to the bacterial infection, that is after the ureter is infected by bacteria, the inflammation will occur in bladder, that is called as urinary tract infection. Here the infection may be acute and or chronic. The acute, which means the infection will exist for short time, that is using the in any foreign particles such as bacteria, virus will affects the bladder, that is called as acute infection. For in chronic infection, which means it will comes from genetic disorder, or it will exist for long time, which is called as the chronic infection. Here the infection may be occurs in upper ureter or lower ureter, where the places it will be affected, which will be denoted as upper tract infection, lower tract infection. Here the lower urinary tract infection will be common in women. In men, the mainly the urethra will be the primary site of infection. Due to the sexually transmitted disease also, the men will be affected. Then upper urinary tract infection, it will be seen in pelvis. The pelvis region will be affected with the bacteria that is called as upper urinary tract infection. These will be tested using the renal ultrasound method. This is the initial screening test for children and men. Whenever the kidney is facing the bacterial infection, we used to test the kidney, that is using the renal ultrasound. Then CT scanning, that is computer tomography, will be also advisable for testing the urinary tract infection. Then pressure happening in the kidney. Types of pressure, which means the glomerular capillary pressure, which is then another pressure colloidal osmotic pressure in the glomeruli, then another pressure hydrostatic pressure in Bowman's capsule. That is in place where it is happening, the pressure is created here. In the glomerular capillary pressure is created by the glomerular capillaries, um, which is the from the afferent artery, it is divided into the glomerular capillaries. That is, the glomerular capillaries will create the pressure with the which will be equal to 60 mmHg. Then after colloidal osmotic pressure in the glomeruli, that is osmotic, which means the minimum pressure needed for the filtration, that is called the osmotic pressure. Here the pressure is created by plasma proteins in the glomeruli, that is in plasma proteins, which means the proteins present in the plasma, the which will create the pressure which will be equal to 25 mmHg. Then hydrostatic pressure in Bowman's capsule, that is by the filtrate, which after filtration in glomerulus, the filtrate comes to Bowman's capsule, it will create the pressure will be equal to 50 mmHg. Then a net filtration pressure will be calculated as the glomerular capillary pressure minus colloidal osmotic pressure in the glomeruli plus hydrostatic pressure in Bowman's capsule, which will be equal to 60 minus 25 plus 15, which will be equal to 20 mmHg. That is the net filtration pressure. Then filtration coefficient will be calculated as that is GFR by the net filtration pressure, that is 125 ml per minute. The net filtration pressure will be equal to 20 mmHg. Then filtration coefficient will be 6.25 ml per mmHg. Here the renal blood flow, that is the blood entering into the kidney, which will be equal to 1300 ml per minute, which is directly proportional to the glomerular filtration rate. That is, how much blood is entering into the kidney will be equal to the filtration rate in glomerulus. In graph, it will be given as in x-axis they are taken as arterial blood pressure, then in y-axis they are taken as blood flow rate, that is how much force it is flowing through the kidney. That is, renal blood flow is mentioned with the red line, then glomerular filtration rate is mentioned in the green line, which will be equal to which is directly proportional to the glomerular filtration rate. When the pressure increases, the flow rate also increases. That is is given in the graph. Then reabsorption, that is, there are two types of reabsorption, that is active reabsorption and passive reabsorption. The active reabsorption, that is active reabsorption, which means the movement of molecules from low concentration to higher concentration, that is the molecules such as sodium, calcium, potassium, phosphates, sulfates, hydrocarbonate and uric acid, which these molecules will be actively reabsorbed. Then passive reabsorption, which means the movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Here the chloride, urea and water will be moved from the higher concentration into the lower concentration. That is, in picture format it is given here. This is the glomerular filtration, that is renal corpuscle. Here this is the glomerulus, it is a Bowman's capsule. Here the molecules enter from the afferent arterioles. The filtration will happen in Bowman's capsule, that is glomerular, this is Bowman capsule. The filtration will occur inside the Bowman's capsule. Here the reabsorption of sodium and water and calcium is given here. This is actively reabsorbed. The water is follows the osmosis, that is um, it penetrates into the tubules, or from the tubules it will reach the interstitial fluid, that is outer region of the tubules. In calcium, it is passively reabsorbed, that is it moves from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Here the fluid reduced to 1 by 3, 1 by third of original volume, but still isosmotic. That is isosmotic, the word isosmotic, which means the following the same concentration through the tubules, that is either it not reduced, either it not increased, that is it maintaining the same level, which is called the isosmotic. uh, After filtration it maintains isosmotic level. In table, that is the molecules which are actively transported and passively transported are tabulated. Here the sodium is actively transported in proximal tubule, and the passive then sodium is actively transported in proximal tubule, thick segment of ascending limb, and distal tubule. And in connecting duct also, small number of sodiums is actively transported. Then in descending limb and thin ascending limb, there will be no actively transport of molecules. In passive transport, here the chloride is passively transported in proximal tubule. Then sodium chloride will be passively transported in thin segment of ascending limb. Then also the passive transport of chloride, which occurs in thick segment of ascending limb and also the distal tubule. Here the water is also passive transport, and urea also passive transport. um, Water is passively transported in proximal tubule and descending limb of Henle's loop. Then also in collecting duct, due to the antidiuretic hormone that is called as the ADH. Um, due to this hormone, it will be the water is passively transported in the collecting duct. In urea, urea is passively transported in proximal tubule and thin segment of ascending limb, and also in collecting duct. These are the active transport molecules and passive transport of molecules. Then hormones regulating tubular reabsorption. These are the hormones which will function in the kidney. Because of this function, some changes will happen in the tubules of nephrons. That is aldosterone, then angiotensin 2, antidiuretic hormone, arterial natriuretic factor, brain natriuretic factor, parathormone, and calcitonin. Here the first hormone is aldosterone. Here the main action is the increase of sodium reabsorption in ascending limb and distal converter tubule in collecting duct. These tubules, here the sodium reabsorption is happens due to the aldosterone hormone. Then angiotensin 2, which will be helpful for the increase in the sodium reabsorption in proximal tubule, thick ascending limb, and distal tubule and collecting duct, mainly in proximal converter tubule. This is these remaining tubules, the sodium reabsorption will be happens because of the angiotensin 2. Then increase of water reabsorption in distal converter tubule and collecting duct, that is which will be helpful for antidiuretic hormone, helpful for the water reabsorption in distal converter tubule and collecting duct. Then decreases in sodium reabsorption, which will be done by the arterial natriuretic factor. Then also in brain natriuretic factor same function, does the same function, that is decreases in sodium reabsorption. Then parathormone, which will be helpful for the increase of reabsorption of then another molecules such as calcium, magnesium, hydrogen, and also decrease for phosphate reabsorption. Then calcitonin will be helpful for decreases in calcium reabsorption. Then reabsorption of glucose, that is tubular maximum for glucose, that is how much the in tubules the glucose is reabsorbed. In male 375 mg per minute, in female 300 mg per minute. Here the splay in renal threshold for glucose is given here. Splay, which means the deviation, occurs in the reabsorption of glucose. In graph in x-axis is taken as plasma glucose, that is glucose present in the blood. Glucose here the y-axis glucose is reabsorbed, that is after filtration how much amount of glucose is reabsorbed, which is given in the y-axis, which will be in blue line in dotted lines, which will be denoted as predicted threshold, that is it will goes upon up to the certain level, then it reaches the saturation point, that is the body will reabsorb the glucose up to the certain level. After enough amount the glucose will be excreted through urine, that is here the red line will be noted as for deviation, that is this is the actual threshold which will be happen in our body. Because of this deviation the reabsorption will be goes through the deviated because of the saturation level occurring in our body. This is the point, the tubular maximum for glucose. This is TMG is the tubular maximum for glucose. In ascending limb, some of the chemical reaction will happen. So these will be listed in the picture, that is in active transport of sodium, calcium, sodium, potassium and calcium in the ratio of 1 is to 1 is to 2. Then it will after filtration happens in the ascending loop of Henle, it will reaches the distal tubule with 100 milliosmoles level. Here during this chemical reaction happening in ascending limb, the energy will be released through the conversion of ATP to ADP, that is anti that is adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate, that is phosphate which will be separated with the free of energy also released. Mm, in ascending the picture of ascending limb is given, ascending limb of loop of Henle is given here. Here the 2 calcium will be transported to, that is a ratio of ratio will be given as for calcium, which will be is 2 ratio, for sodium and potassium will be the 1 is to 1. Mm, that is in during this reaction ATP is converted to the ADP, that is adenosine triphosphate will be separated into the with the phosphate and free of energy, it will be converted into the ADP. The chemical reaction is given as K plus and Cl minus and sodium also given here in us, which will be happen in the ascending lip of Henle. This is the inner interstitial space, that is outer of tubules. Yeah, these are the happening in inside of loop of Henle. Then after reabsorption it will goes to the interstitial space, that is outer region of loop of Henle. Then after filtration from the ascending limb, it will reaches the descending loop of, sorry, from descending limb it will reaches the ascending loop of Henle. Here the fluid increases in concentration with the amount of 1200 to 1400 milliosmoles. That is amount by amount it is given in the picture. That is the blood with 300 milliosmoles enters into the proximal tubules. After reabsorption the because of it will reaches 600, because of the water from the interstitial fluid it will enters into the tubules. The concentration will increase up to 1400 when it reaches the descending limb, that is 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1400. Then after filtration in the descending limb it will reduce to 1200. It is opposite to that of this tubules. In ascending limb it will reduce to 1200, 1800, 600, 400, 200. That is finally it will reaches the distal tubules with 100 milliosmoles. Here the into mark is given for active reabsorption of sodium chloride. That is already we seen that that is movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration, that is given for sodium chloride. Here the H2O is given for osmosis, that is whenever the water is needed for tubules, it will enters or it will leaves the tubules. um, then role of urea in urine, that is urea is a waste particle which will be excreted from the body through urine. The rate of your urea which will be calculated as excretion rate will be equal to the filtration rate plus secretion rate
Can you
minus
explain?
sir.
Previous, previous.
Yes sir.
இதில் how many parts are there?
Yes sir,
Then what about concentration is concentration is decreasing, huh?
எஸ் சார். டிசெண்டிங் லிம்ப் வர வரைக்கும் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிட்டே இருந்து அதுக்கப்புறம் அசெண்டிங் வரப்போ அதுக்கப்புறம் டிக்ரீஸ் ஆகி ஃபைனலாக டிஸ்டலுக்கு வரும்போது 100க்கு மாறிடும் சார்.
Okay. So what is the highest value?
1400 சார்.
1400 in that
டிசெண்டிங் லிம்ப்.
descending limb. So the concentration from the upper, actually concentration is very low.
Yes,
After
sir.
that concentration is increasing.
Yes sir.
Once again it come to that concentration once again decreasing.
Yes sir.
Okay, fine now.
In the urea concentration is in the formula type, that is excretion rate will be equal to the filtration rate plus secretion rate minus reabsorption rate. Then renal clearance of inulin, inulin which is the substance which is neither reabsorbed nor secreted, that is it is not needed for the body but it will be produced in our body and excreted through urine. It will be calculated as amount of inulin excreted per minute will be equal to the amount of inulin filtered per minute, that is how much it is filtered, it will be equal to the excretion amount. Here the it in the formula type q is equal to v into u. Here the q is called as the quantity excreted per minute. Then v is the rate of urine formation, u is the inulin concentration in urine. A quantity filtered per minute will be calculated as, that is glomerular filtration rate into p, that is p is the inulin concentration in plasma. In blood how much inulin present, which will be multiplied into the glomerular filtration rate. We already know that amount of filtration will be equal to the amount of excretion, that is the RHS right hand side will be equated, that is glomerular filtration rate into P equal to V into U. Here we are going to find the glomerular filtration rate for inulin will be equal to V into U divided by P. Here the example molecule mLs are given. That is for a V they are given as 2 ml per minute. For U 30 milligram per ml. Then P is the 0.5 milligram per ml. Finally, the glomerular filtration rate of inulin calculated as 120 ml per minute. Here, the graph is given for all the molecules, that is glucose, protein, amino acids, then urea, inulin, creatinine, pH, which means the paraphoric amino acid, then hydrocarbonate. Separate lines, separate colors are given for each molecules, that is how in separate tubules, that is for in x-axis the proximal tubule, loop of Henle, distal tubule, in collecting duct collecting tubule. Here the y-axis is given for tubular fluid or glomerular filtration concentration, that is each tubules how much these molecules are filtered in the glomerular filtration in glomerulus. Y-axis is given for glomerular filtration concentration, x-axis given for separate tubules. It will be, the graph will be created according to the filtration rate in glomerulus. Here the only paraphoric amino acid which will be the highest in glomerular filtration rate, that is it is mentioned in the red color line. And then proteins, which is the lowest filtration rate, because most of the proteins and glucose will be reabsorbed into the body.
Maximum
um,
100 percentage, maximum 90, more
yes
than
sir.
90 percentage.
Yes, which will be happen in proximal tubule. Then only the PAH and creatinine, inulin, and urea, these four molecules will reach the collecting duct with for filtration. That is, after collecting duct, it remaining amount will be excreted through urine. Mm. Then renal plasma clearance, the same as inulin, the formula type V into U divided by P as a formula. Here the V denotes the urine volume per minute. Here U is the concentration of substance in urine. That is, P is the concentration of substance in plasma. That is how much molecules present in plasma. The renal plasma clearance, how much plasma is entering into the kidney. It should be calculated with the multiplication of V into U divided by P. Then the urea clearance will be calculated as V into U divided by P. The same concentration of urea divided by the concentration of urea which is present in plasma. Um, then another table is given here for uh, molecules such as proteins, inulin, urea, glucose, PAH, and K plus. These are the substance which is how much is which is filtered or not is given here. That is, proteins is not filtered, which is fully reabsorbed. And in renal vein, the same as happens in renal artery also. Then renal clearance rate, it is not excreted through urine. That is, so the renal clearance rate will be 0 for proteins. Then for inulin, it is some amount will be filtered, and which will be not it is not neither reabsorbed nor secreted. That is, whole amount will be excreted through urine. Then the less than in renal vein, which will be less than in renal artery, concentration in renal vein which will be less than in renal artery. um, then renal clearance rate for inulin is given as 115 to 125 ml per minute. um, Here the urea is filtered and partially reabsorbed. Then most of the molecules of urea will be excreted through urine. Here the concentration of urea in renal vein is less than in renal artery. um, Here the renal clearance rate will be less than glomerular filtration rate. Then for glucose, that is, it is filtered but fully completely reabsorbed. Then that is, the concentration in renal vein is same as in renal artery. Here the renal clearance rate will be 0. That is, for proteins and glucose, the renal clearance rate will be 0 because it is fully reabsorbed. Then for PAH, it is filtered and secreted. Here the concentration of renal vein, which will be less than in renal artery. Then it will also approaches the 0 in renal clearance rate of PAH, which is the greater than glomerular filtration rate, um, which will be up to the total plasma flow rate, which will be approximately equal to 625 ml per minute. Then for potassium, it will be filtered, reabsorbed, and secreted. That is, the concentration will be varies for renal vein and also renal artery. Then renal clearance rate also will be variable. Then some H plus ions are secreted in the descending lymph. That is, to maintain the pH level for in the blood and also in urine. To maintain pH level, certain H plus ions are secreted. That is, here the ammonia plus H plus will be given to the NH4. That is ammonium ions. Then hydrophosphate with H plus will be given to phosphoric acid. Then hydrocarbonate plus H plus will given to carbonic acid with H plus. That is in picture. Detail it is given here. From the Bowman's capsule reaches the proximal tubule. Here in this epithelium, these reaction will be occurs between the interstitial space, that is outer region of tubules, and interregion of lumen, that is where the blood flow and the filtration occurs. between these two regions, this chemical reaction will occurs. That is HCO3 plus H plus will given for hydrocarbonate, then which will be divided into H2O and CO2. Then after this, water and carbon dioxide will combine to form the H2CO3, that is hydrogen carbonate. Then for secretion of H plus ions, it will be separated into HCO3 and H plus. Then these chemical reaction will which will uh, which will happens in the tubules again and again. Then another chemical reaction which is hydrophosphate with H plus, it will be which will gives the that is phosphoric acid. Then ammonia plus H plus, it will gives the ammonium ions. um, then here in this ATP is converted into the ADP, that is adenosine triphosphate is converted into the adenosine diphosphate because of the to release energy when the reaction happens. Mm, these reaction will happens in the proximal tubule. These ATP is converted to ADP is in this reaction will happens in distal tubules. Then another we are going to see about the cystometrogram, that is cystometrogram. Here this technique is used to study the relationship between the intravesical pressure and the volume of urine in bladder. That is with pressure and the volume in the bladder. um, Here the pressure is inversely proportional to the radius, that is P is equal to T by R. Here the P is the pressure, T is the tension, and R is the radius. In a graph, x-axis is taken as volume in the bladder, y-axis is taken for pressure happens in the bladder. That is whenever the volume increases, that is urine is collected in the bladder, the pressure also increases. Then certain amount, when the bladder is full, the pressure will be high, then it causes the muscles to relax the bladder, then the urine is excreted, that is shown in the graph. That is pressure is when compared to the radius, it is inversely proportional, but when it is compared to the volume, it is directly proportional. Then characteristics of filtration membrane. Here the three layers in the filtration occurs in three layers in renal corpuscle, that is composition of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. Here the three layers is namely called as capillary endothelium and the glomerular basement membrane and the Bowman's visceral epithelium, that is the podocytes, that is outer layer of Bowman's capsule. Here the high permeability, which allows the water to penetrate into the glomerulus, that is the high permeability will occur. Then glomerular membrane is highly permeable to water, and the substance is fully dissolved, that is 100% of substance is fully filtered into the glomerulus. Then permeability selectively, that is here it will be happens exhibit when the high degree of permeability is based on two factors, that is pore size and electrical charge of molecule, which means pore size, which is the pores present in the outer layer of capsule, that is layers, and Bowman's layer and glomerulus and the capillary endothelium. Then electrical charge of molecules in the outer layer of Bowman's capsule. Here the pore size is given as for capillary endothelium. For capillary endothelium cells, here the pore size is given here for 70 to 90 nanometer in diameter. For glomerulus basement membrane, the pores here there will be no pores in glomerulus basement membrane, that is the pores is called as podocytes. The podocytes with the diameter of 25 nanometer, but here the no pores will be given here. Then the size of pores greater than 8 nanometer are not filtered, then less than 4 nanometer are freely filtered, that is the pores will allow the molecules to filter with the diameter of which is less than 4 nanometer. Then the pores which is greater than 4 nanometer, which do not allow the molecules to penetrate into, that is the molecules are not filtered, which the molecules entering into the pores with greater than 8 nanometer. Here the filtration is inversely proportional to the diameter, that is filtration will occurs with the high with less than 4 nanometer, that is how much the diameter is less, the filtration occurs heavily. When the diameter is high, the filtration will slows down. Then for electrically charged, here that is pores, here the pores present in the outer layer are negatively charged, that is are anionic. Here the anion, which means the negative charge, cations, which means the positive charge. When the pores are with the negative charge, the molecules entering from the blood with the neutral and cationic particles, that is opposite charges will attract, the same charges will repel, that is negative charge in pores, then the molecules with the neutral and cationic particles will when entering into the pores, it will be attract, and filtration occurs. It causes increase in permeability. In graph also shown, that is x-axis taken for diameter of pores, that is effective molecular diameter, then y-axis is taken for fractional clearance, that is how much filtration occurs, which is taken in y-axis. Here red line is taken for anionic, black line is taken for neutral, then blue line is taken for cationic. Anionic, which means a negative charge, neutral and cationic is neutral, which means the between of negative and positive, cationic, which is the positively charged molecules. Here when the diameter increases, for cationic particles the filtration is occurs. For anionic particles, the increase in diameter which causes the no filtration, and that is given in graph. Then for example albumin is given here. Here the albumin diameter will be 7 nanometer but is not filtered, um, because of negative charge, that is when it enters the force with the negative charge, negative and negative charge, that is the same charge, same poles will repel each other, that is the albumin also negative, then poles also negative, it will repel, that is not filtered. When the molecules with opposite poles, it will attract, that's why the albumin is not filtered here. Thank you, sir. Sir.
Okay, a very good presentation.
Yes, sir.
Actually, that open that once again that
Yes, sir.
presentation. Yes, previous one.
1 minute.
Yeah, next one. Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
here, what is that eye permeability? What is eye permeability?
That is when the filtration occurs with the high permeability, sir, that is water will without any disturbance, the water will comes into the glomerulus, the ions will maintain the isosmotic level, sir, the whole molecules will be
Hmm.
filtered, sir.
Okay. So one thing you have to observe when that the size of the tube is very less,
Yes, sir.
then the filtration is more.
Yes, sir.
When the tube of that size is a big one, then it
Okay.
is opposite proportional actually. The filtration and that size of the tube or radius of the tube is opposite proportional, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Inversely
okay.
proportional, yes, sir.
Yeah, inversely proportional. Yeah,
Okay.
it's correct. So, um, and one more thing I want to that previous you can go. I want
Yes,
to
sir.
ask one more thing. So here there is no doubt.
Okay, sir.
Previous, previous. Okay, here.
Yes, sir.
So here actually that why that glucose is at a very low level. That means 100. It is totally 100% observed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So once it goes high, then that
Okay, sir.
absorption reabsorption rate is very low.
Yes, sir.
So sodium and then inulin and then creatinine.
Yes, sir.
Actually,
Yes.
mainly concentrate on that creatinine. So many of them were concentrated in the medical level, medical field also.
Okay,
Many
sir.
of them are concentrated with the creatinine.
Okay, sir.
Actually, creatinine is very high.
Okay, sir.
Creatinine is very high. That
Yes,
is
sir.
reabsorption rate is very low.
Yes, sir.
When the creatinine
Most
is
of the molecules
very,
will be excreted.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
when that kidney failure is happened means when the creatinine is very high,
Yes,
then
sir.
day to day when it will be increase. So
Okay, sir.
reabsorption rate will be decrease.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So particularly we have to maintain the creatinine level.
Okay, sir. Okay,
That is
sir.
very important.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So whenever you go for the test, lab test, first
Okay, sir.
the doctor will see that what is the creatinine level.
Uh, and urea level also.
Yeah, urea level and creatinine level.
Okay, sir.
The
Okay,
other
sir.
things they are observing, but
Okay.
creatinine level should be that.
Ah, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, if it is very high, so that the reabsorption is that very low,
Low.
so that
Yes.
your kidney will be fault
Damage. Yes, sir.
damaged. Is it not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. Any other
Okay.
doubt from any others? Any other
No, sir.
doubt from Shankar, Raj Gayatri and Padmanabhan?
No, sir.
Okay. If there is no other doubt, we congratulate Deebalakshmi for the good presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. So first I want to, okay, I'm stopping that recording, then I want to